free food, free video games, free designer clothes, and money randomly appearing in your account while you sit in your bedroom at 15 years old. Yeah, that's how the internet tricks people into falling in love with carding. And honestly, at the time, it didn't even feel like a crime. It felt like a video game, a dangerous one. Welcome to Fish Talks, and today I want to tell you how I personally fell in love with carding online and why so many teenagers still do. Now, first things first, my journey into carding did not start with me becoming some elite hacker overnight. No, it started exactly how most teenagers start, being broke, no job, no money, no motion, just curiosity and way too much internet access. And if you grew up online, then you already know once YouTube recommends one scam documentary, your entire algorithm suddenly becomes how to commit federal crimes in 4K. So naturally, I started researching carding forums, dump sites, Telegram channels, and immediately realized something. Half these websites were scams. One site looked trustworthy until I realized the owner was probably scamming the scammers, which honestly is kind of poetic. At the time, I was around 15 or 16, and since I had no job, I did what every broke teenager does. I started selling random stuff in my room, old Xbox games, movies, controllers, probably stuff I wasn't even supposed to sell. I took it all to a store named Disc Replay. Now, one thing about Disc Replay, they'll actually give you more than GameStop. GameStop will look at your entire childhood collection and offer you enough money for a small fry and half a napkin. So after selling everything, I made around $60, and in my head, I was already rich. Now, because I was underage, buying crypto felt like a side quest. I either needed a verified cash app account with Bitcoin enabled, or I had to use one of those tiny Bitcoin ATMs hidden inside random gas stations. And those ATMs always look suspicious. So I load the money, and of course the ATM fees destroy me. I put in $60 and somehow only 40 survived. I'm pretty sure those machines charge breathing fees. So I finally buy my first cards. The site was called Donald.cc at the time. Immediately, everything felt off. All the cards were the exact same price. Didn't matter if it had full billing info, zip code, nothing. Same price. That's like going to a dealership and every car costs the same amount. A Honda Civic, the same price as a Lamborghini. Another thing that stood out to me was there were no sellers, no reviews, nothing. At that moment, I realized I might have gotten scammed by criminals, which is honestly insane when you think about it. Still, I tested the cards anyway. Declined, declined again. At this point, I'm sick. I'm staring at my wallet like, bro, we just sold our childhood for this? So I stopped and gathered my thoughts. But instead of quitting, I got smarter. I created an Instagram page, waited until I got a sale for a digital product, and reinvested the money right back into another site. Yeah, even back then, social media was funding bad decisions. But this time, I actually did research. I found a carding forum where people publicly reviewed websites and discussed if sites were scams or not. Honestly, those forums felt like Yelp reviews for cybercrime. One guy would be like, amazing customer service, fast replacement on dead cards. BRO what? After reading enough reviews, I finally found another site that actually looked legit. I browsed the different sellers, prices, and information available, and concluded it was already way better than the last one. So again, I loaded up Bitcoin using a verified Cash App account and sent the money over. Now this is where things started feeling real. I remember sitting there excited and nervous, refreshing the page over and over. The second the balance loaded, I instantly started searching through cards in different states like I was some Wall Street analyst instead of a teenager in a dark room eating snacks at 2 a.m. Now, like every teenager, I started small. Free movie tickets, free food, free video games. At the time, getting free NBA 2K and the new Call of Duty, not just for myself, but my friends too, felt better than graduation. Me and my friends thought it was the coolest thing ever. But eventually, free burgers stop exciting you. And that's when people start chasing money. I remember constantly reading tutorials trying to understand cash out methods, and one tutorial stood out to me. It was a Western Union method. The steps were simple, and the method claimed you could send money and receive the money directly onto your own card if not in person. Honestly, it sounded fake, but I already had an aged verified Western Union account. Back then, apps and websites didn't always ask for face scans. If the SSN and DOB were valid, sometimes you were just in. Now, one thing about me at the time, I always bought cards from my own state, because in my mind, if my IP leaked, I wanted it to look like the real card owner was just traveling or making purchases nearby. Looking back, that logic was stupid, but at the time, it made perfect sense to me. So I connected to my proxy, logged into my aged account, and started typing everything manually instead of copying and pasting, because I had read somewhere that pasting information too quickly could trigger fraud detection. So now I'm constantly switching tabs back and forth like I'm defusing a bomb in an action movie. My heart is beating fast, hands sweating, barely blinking. And for the transaction amount, I chose $300. Now, to me at 15 years old, $300 felt like Wall Street money. So I'm staring at the send button, just frozen, because at that moment, everything suddenly felt real. The risk, the possibility of getting caught, all of it. Finally, I clicked send and immediately walked away from my laptop. Not because that helps anything, but somehow walking away makes bad decisions feel less stressful. This was around 3 p.m., and in my head I was already expecting either an OTP code or a decline message. I walk back to my laptop already debating what I'm going to try next, and then I see it. A confirmation message. No OTP, no decline. It actually worked. At first I didn't believe it, so I checked my phone. I got the confirmation email, but the money still wasn't in my account yet. So I'm refreshing the app over and over, just staring at zeros. Finally, a few minutes later, the money appears. And that is how people get addicted. Because after that moment, nothing else felt the same. Waiting 2 weeks for a paycheck suddenly sounded insane. Working a normal job sounded slow. And that's the dangerous part about fast illegal money. It rewires your brain. So of course, I loaded more Bitcoin and sent more money back to the site, because in my head, I had finally figured it out. This is how I fell in love with carding. And at the time, I genuinely convinced myself it was a victimless crime. I saw banks refund people instantly. I saw credit unions replace thousands overnight. So in my mind, nobody was really suffering. But reality doesn't work like that. Sometimes people miss rent because accounts get frozen. Sometimes families lose access to their money temporarily. Sometimes innocent people spend weeks fighting fraud claims. The harsh reality is the free items aren't always free. The truth is most teenagers don't fall in love with carding because they're evil. A lot of them are broke, curious, influenced online, and chasing a lifestyle the internet keeps glamorizing. But fast money always comes with slow consequences. This is Fish Talks, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. And remember, you don't need scams to make money online. Check out our guide build automated social media pages that pay daily in the description. Stay safe, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.